Hello and welcome to my next smartwatch review. Today we have the ET482. Now I'm just going to show you what comes out of the box right now, and then I'm going to charge this and then go away and wear it for several days and then come back with my full, fair, and honest review. We have the smartwatch itself. We have a charging cable. This will be a magnetic charger that snaps on the back. This has a protective film on the back, so make sure you peel that off. And this charging cable will just snap on the back there. It's also got a protector on the screen. Let's peel that off. Comes with a spare band. This is a brown, looks like a faux leather type watch. It's got some wipes on here, so this tells me it's going to have another screen protector, a permanent one to put on there. And then the user manual itself. This looks pretty easy to read and comprehensive, and this is telling me this watch is going to do sleep tracking, heart rate, ECG or EKG, blood sugar, blood pressure, blood oxygen, blood composition, body temperature, and various sports modes. So let me go charge it. Through the magic of editing, you'll see my full, fair, and honest review and thoughts in just a moment. I press the button, it does come to life. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. It's a beautiful watch face. It's got sort of a red layer, a red highlight that goes around the outside body of the watch. I think it's going to look pretty good on the wrist. So let me go wear it, and through the magic of editing, you'll see my full review in just a few seconds. Alright, so let's jump into this watch. There are three buttons, basically two buttons and a sensor. You have the upper right button, the lower right button, and then the EKG sensor in the middle. If we press that top button, it'll make the screen come to life. This is in the lowest display setting right now. I'm going to bump that all the way up for the purposes of this review. Alright, I'm going to press the top right and then the bottom right button, and I'm going to scroll until I see my display settings here. Let's scroll around, and what I'm going to do is turn up the time, the screen on time, up to as high as it'll go for the purposes of this review, and that highest number is 60 seconds. So now I've got a full minute of you listening to me jibber jabber before the screen turns off. Alright, so I've been wearing it multiple days. Battery life, it's still at 77%. If we swipe from right to left, we get into the phone settings. This is a Bluetooth calling smartwatch, so this does not have a SIM card, but when you're connected to your phone via Bluetooth Low Energy, you can make and receive calls directly from the watch. It's got a built-in speaker and microphone. Here is your progress bar for the day, your estimated kilocalorie burn, your heart rate, and your number of steps here in the red. It's just a nice graphical display so you can see how well you're doing over the course of the day. There is your sleep from the night before. You can get into sort of a comprehensive screen of your health parameters here, and you see your sleep, body temp, blood oxygen saturation, EKG, blood pressure. And if we go do an EKG in real time, I'm going to press that to start it. Now I'm going to put my finger on that sensor, and it will do an EKG in real time. And note that this is not a simulated screen. This is the actual EKG. Now ideally, I would be calm, relaxed, and not talking and remaining very, very still, which is not the ideal conditions here in front of the camera, but you get the idea. It's a real EKG trace. I'm going to stop it there. I'll show you more in the app later. If we keep swiping, there's your blood glucose monitoring function. I don't believe this number. This is not a valid device for measuring blood glucose. You should not trust any health decisions to this smartwatch. It is not FDA approved, and I am going to drop a link in the description of this video that links directly to an FDA statement on the state of blood glucose monitoring smartwatches non-invasively. The short story is, don't trust them. None of these are FDA approved. These are not medical devices. Here is your blood pressure. I can press that and I'll let it go in real time. Again, not a medical device. Don't trust this. This is for Informational purposes only. I like to think of it as just keep an eye on it and just see if it trends up or trends down. If it deviates in some way, you can use that as an indication to go get a real blood pressure test, go see a real doctor. But this does have the blood pressure feature, and this is how long it takes. You see the progress bar around the outside. Not a medical device. Don't trust your health or make any health decisions based on this data. If we keep swiping, there's the blood oxygen saturation. This has both the green diode and the red diode, and it's using the red diode right now to get this blood oxygen saturation measurement, or SPO2. I'm going to let this go in real time as well so you can see how long this takes. It already is coming up with 96%, but the progress bar is still spinning around the bottom there. So I'll let it take its full measurement, and I'll just riff a little bit in the meantime. I've been wearing this watch almost a week now. I have not had scientific sleep turned on, so the first few days it didn't detect any sleep at all. But the last couple days it's gotten sleep, and I think the sleep was fairly accurate once it started measuring it. Here we go, getting toward the end of this blood oxygen saturation measurement. It says I'm at 99%, and there we go. This is pretty close, 98%. Pretty close when I compare this to a fingertip pulse oximeter. Here are your blood components. I'll let this go in real time. This is a much faster measurement. I think this is just completely bogus. I don't think this is a valid measurement at all. You really need to get blood drawn and do an advanced lipid panel to get this kind of information accurately, but it does give you a number for uric acid, total cholesterol, triglycerides, HDLs, and LDLs. So there you go. If we keep swiping, here's your body comp. If I press that little play button there and again hold my finger on the electrode, it will do a body comp measurement. Now, I'm going to, when I get into the app, you know what, right here, I'm going to throw in a little piece of video comparing this to what I consider the gold standard for me, which is a Smartscale that I step on. It has electrodes on the bottom of my feet. I believe that one to be very, very close to being accurate. This I do not think is accurate at all. And here's that little piece of video that explains why. Okay, so if we compare the results from the smartwatch to my, what I consider the gold standard Smartscale, my Renpho Smartscale, first of all, you'll notice these measurements were both taken this morning within just a couple minutes of each other, okay, about 4 minutes apart. And if we start out by looking at the BMI, so on the watch it says 23, over here on the Smartscale it says 24.3. Okay, that's fairly close. But now we get into body fat, and this is telling me 27.6%. And I can look at myself in the mirror and know my body fat is not 27.6%. The Smartscale has me at 13.8%. I've crept up a bit over the past couple of months. So these two numbers are very, very different. If we go to lean body mass, the watch has me at 126 pounds. And if we look over the fat-free body weight over here, which is the same thing, 158, significantly different. And here's where I have the biggest problem. In muscle mass, I know I'm on the high end of carrying muscle for my weight and age, and the watch has me low at 103 pounds of muscle mass, whereas the Smartscale has me at 150 pounds of muscle mass. Huge difference, and I definitely trust the Smartscale over the smartwatch. We look at body water. The watch has me at, let's call it 59%. Over here, 62%. That's somewhat close. Subcutaneous fat, 19% over here. And 19.5% over here, 11.7. Huge difference in body appearance. And just, again, looking at myself in the mirror, I know this one is much closer than that one. Skeletal muscle, the smartwatch has me at 60 pounds. And over here at 58 pounds, so I'm sorry, 58% versus 34%. That's significantly different as well. Bone mass, I'm not even sure what this means, but the watch has me at 6 pounds. Smartscale has me at close to 8 pounds. And then protein percentage here, this has me at 12.7%. The Smartscale has me at 19.7%. And now another huge difference here. The smartwatch would have me believe that my basal metabolic rate is 3,204 kilocalories. That's just way too high for my age and my physical condition. The Smartscale has my basal metabolic rate at 1918 kilocalories per day. That's the rate at which you burn calories, really just doing nothing, just maintaining vital functions. I believe this number. I do not believe this number. There's no way I need to eat over 3,000 calories per day just to keep vital functions going. So I don't believe the watch at all, but it is impressive that they're trying to take these measurements from a smartwatch form factor. So there you go. Another way I know my body fat is not 27.1%. I'm about 13.6, whatever that number just was. When I get under 12%, I kind of look a little bit shredded. I'm not there right now. I'm on my way to get down there, drop a few pounds. I got a little fluffy here lately in the spring. But there's no way I have 27% body fat. Here's body temperature. This is really measuring skin temperature and calculating a body temp from there. I've had this turned off. I like to do this on demand. I don't like it to take this automatically because it just seems to use battery life much faster than it otherwise would. So there you go, body temperature. And you can get the weather pulled in when tethered with your smartphone, and I'll show you that in a minute. So if we swipe from left to right, we can get into a shortcut setting here. There's a torch. You can press that and all the pixels will come on. That's a flashlight mode. And there's your weather shortcut, a calculator, and well, this is just basically your menu style. You can change it to different types of menus. I like the list views. That way I can read exactly what everything is. If you swipe up, you can get to your messages. Again, it'll pull these in from your phone when tethered via Bluetooth. This works just fine. You can read your text messages. You cannot reply from the watch, so keep that in mind. If I swipe down, I can get back into these settings. There's your health monitoring. You can turn on automatic heart rate monitoring, automatic heart rate alert. There's your automatic blood pressure monitoring, blood oxygen monitoring, blood components. That's your lipids, body temp. I have that turned off, as I just mentioned. Scientific sleep, I just turned that on earlier, so tonight will be the first night I test that. Blood glucose monitoring, I have that turned on automatically, and stress monitor. So there you go with that. You have various notifications, phone, messages, connected. You can connect your Facebook or Gmail or Instagram or Kakao Talk, Line, whatever that is, LinkedIn, Messenger, QQ, Skype, Snapchat, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter X, WeChat, WhatsApp, and other. You would have to go into the app to define the others. Language, you can change the language. There's your app QR code. The app here is called Hband. Hband, so keep that in mind. And some system settings. You can power off, factory reset, device info. There you see it is indeed the ET482. Now, I did the next version of this, the ET485 review last week, and you can go check out that review as well. One thing I like, well, maybe not like, but notice that little symbol at the top. It's that looks like the old Atari logo. Anybody else see that in there? That's what I'm getting from that. So I'm not sure. Really should be an N. There's an E, an S, and a W on the left here. It's really just an aesthetic look. All right. So there you go. That's the basics of the smartwatch. You have a calculator in here. You've got a stopwatch. You've got a countdown timer. You can use this as a camera trigger. What you would do when connected via Bluetooth, you would aim your camera at whatever you want and then shake your wrist, and shaking of the wrist with the watch on it would trigger your camera to take a picture. Here is 28-day cycle tracking. So if you have any cycles in your life that kind of are on a 28-day timer. That's how you would keep track of that. You can play music on your phone remotely from your smartwatch. Basically, this just becomes a controller. Your phone is still playing the music. This does not hold MP3s on it or anything like that. Some breath training, HRV. You get this either on demand or when you have scientific sleep turned on. MET, basically your active versus resting metabolic efficiency. And a lot of this we've talked about. Stress, I don't know how it does this. I'm going to let this take a measurement in real time. I have no idea how it's getting this, what type of measurement it's doing, but it says I'm under normal stress or low stress, so that's there as well. And I think we've talked about just about everything else here. Here's your heart rate mode, and here's your workout mode. There's lots of workouts in here. And this is not a GPS watch, but it does allow you to keep track of your time engaged in the sport, your heart rate, continuous heart rate, and estimate of kilocalorie burn. And this also, for hikes and whatnot, estimates your mileage walked. We'll talk about that in just a moment in the app. So that is the basics of everything on the watch. It's a beautiful display. I like the looks of it. And let's go look at that Hband app, and I'll come back with my final thoughts. Here we are in the Hband app. It gives you your steps for the day and your hours slept the night before. You can go into the ET to get more, and it's like a little shortcut there. Here's your sports modes, your step for the day, your kilocalorie burn, estimated distance walked. Now, I went on a hike after work that was 5.96, let's call it 4.96 miles, call it 5 miles. By my GPS watch worn on the other wrist, this watch estimated 6.1 miles, and that's assuming some step stride length and whatnot. So again, it's not a GPS watch. This would be more accurate if I would have turned on location services on my phone and kept it paired, but I did not do that. I used it in standalone mode. Here is my sleep. It tells me my sleep duration, sleep quality, awake times, REM sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, falling asleep, efficiency, and whatnot. And you can go back over previous days. All right, so that's pretty cool. Here is your heart rate. It gives you your maximum, your minimum, and your average. And again, you can scroll back over the days. This seems to be fairly accurate based on what I know. You can set a high heart rate alert if you wish. I did not do that. And you can look at your exercise distribution and what your heart rate was doing over the course of those measurements or activities. And here's your EKG, ECG. Here is one I did earlier. It will collect that waveform information, and you can play it back to see what it did in the watch. And this is one I did when I was calm and not talking and very still and relaxed, and that's the way you should take these measurements. It gives you your heart rate zone in beats per minute, your QT interval, and your HRV. All right. If you keep scrolling, it tells you where everything falls in terms of a grid, let's call it, and my myocarditis risk, cardiac arrhythmia risk, coronary artery disease risk, and arteriosclerosis risk are all low, but this says I'm kind of higher on the fatigue and mental stress sort of things. I don't think that's necessarily true, but it does do some sort of analysis here. Your arrhythmia risk assessment, and it basically marks everything green if you're low or minimal risk. Again, this is not a medical device, so don't trust it, but it's kind of cool that it does all of this. I mean, left bundle branch, ventricular fibrillation, arterial flutter. I mean, just this is not a medical device. Don't trust this at all, but it is kind of neat and fun data. There's your blood oxygen saturation. There's your heart rate variability. Here are those blood pressure measurements. Gives me my lowest and my highest, and you can see, go look at your individual readings over the course of the day and scroll back over the days. There's body temp. Here is that blood glucose trace. Again, I have no reason to believe this. It's not a valid medical device. It seems to give me the same spikes at the same time every day and of the same amplitude, regardless of when I wake up or when I eat or what I eat. So I think that's kind of a made-up graph. but it does give you your maximum, your minimum, and your average value, your blood glucose in millimoles per liter. And so that is that. Here are your blood components, your uric acid, maximum, minimum, average, and you can look at your lipid panel, alleged lipid panel. Gives you your cholesterol, gives me my average value and tells me whether that's in range or not, my triglycerides, HDLs, LDLs. So that is all there. Again, interesting, fun data, but not. I'm not going to make any health decisions based on this. And here is that body comp measurement that I showed you earlier, the one I did this morning, and then the one on my Smartscale right after it. So this makes an attempt, folks. It makes an attempt to do body comp. I don't trust it or believe it, but I think it's kind of amazing that these smartwatch companies are working on it, and they hope to get there one day. So let's go back and go back one more screen. That's about it. You can get into your workout modes. There's the hike I did earlier today. Gives me an estimated kilocalorie burn, the time engaged in the activity, a pace, duration, average heart rate, number of steps, and here's that distance. Like I said, I did like 4.96 miles. This is saying 5.6, so this was generous. Here's your step, your heart rate zone over the course of that hike, amount of exercise. You get the idea there. Here's a gym workout. Same thing. It's really a neat way to track your heart rate over the course of an exercise, and that's about it. You can get into the My menu, and you can set, you can choose what notifications you want pushed to the watch from your phone. Here's where you would set a high heart rate alert, sedentary reminder, raise to weight. That's your wrist feature, where if you lift your wrist, the display will come on automatically. I always turn that off to save battery life. Bluetooth calls. Right now I'm connected. I'll do a little demo there. Now you can do a private blood pressure mode, private blood glucose mode, and private blood component mode. So if you have real data, you can input that to kind of calibrate the watch. Whether that makes it more accurate or not, I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to be accurate. So take it with a grain of salt. And that's about it for the app. Again, Hband. It's a good app, it's clean, it's intuitive, I like it. So my bottom line on this watch, if you like the looks of it, it's got that red accent going around the outside of the bezel. It's got a great battery life in here. It's got the green and red diodes. Like I said, I've been wearing it, I think 6 days, and the battery is still at 76%, so that's pretty amazing. If I go back to that shortcut mode, and I go into my phone calls, and I go to my keypad. Here is where I would make Bluetooth calls. And let me do one just to show you that it works. Alright, so let's make a call. Instead of using the keypad and spending more time on camera, I'm just going to go to my call history and pick the same number that I called once before.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone.
There's your volume on the right. I can mute the microphone. I can talk and hear right through the watch. Again, you have to be tethered via Bluetooth to your phone. It'll make the call. It's fairly easy to hear, especially the fact that you can adjust the volume. Let me just go ahead and hang up. So this does work, and you can pull in your contacts if you wish from your phone. There it is. It is as we said, the ET482. It's a decent watch. It's selling right now on AliExpress for about 30 bucks. For $30, I think it's a pretty solid value. I'll drop a link below. Go check it out. This channel is primarily about my kayaking and adventures. I do these smartwatch and fitness tracker reviews just to monetize this site a bit, and any revenue I make from these videos gets invested right back into the channel. And I can only do that if you engage with my content or this channel in some way. And I thank you for your time here today. Come check me out at davethekayaker.com. There is that weather feature pulled in. It gives me the weather today, tomorrow, and the day after that. Highs and low temperatures and whether it's going to rain or not. So there it is. Thank you so much for your time. Be healthy, stay fit. Go check out my smartwatch and fitness tracker review playlist on my YouTube channel, and I'll be back soon with some fresh reviews and outdoor adventures in a kayak.
When you want an extraordinary racing kayak made in the finest American tradition, or maybe just own a piece of American kayaking history, you want a West Side Boat Shop kayak, now available from davethekayaker.com. West Side Boat Shop kayaks. The tradition continues.